So you've incorporated strength training into your Muay Thai
Yes.
fightings. How'd you find that transition?
So good. So I'm working with Jacob Parr.
Mhm.
I've known Jacob Parr since he was 12. We're both extremely like smart people. We're both very dedicated at what we do. So I knew he's the perfect person to have on board.
Mhm.
He's smashed out his bachelor's already and he's doing his master's at the moment in sports, exercise science and exercise rehab.
Oh, cool.
I just knew he was perfect. I always told him, I'm going to work with you one day. And then one day I just told him, let's do it. It was end of your uni semester last year. It's been 30 weeks now.
Oh, wow.
I'm his guinea pig, but I'm a really good guinea pig. I'll show up to training every time he programs me to. And we're just getting better and better. And I know him. I know he will spend like hours and hours researching what he's supposed to do with fighters. And now he's got me on board. He's got Killen Papani. She's had 3 fights, 3 wins. She's a 70-kilogram fighter. She's also dating Stefan Lottering. And Stefan Lottering's on board with Jacob as well. He's ranked number 5 on WBC. So he's got us as well as some Brazilian jiu-jitsu athletes. And he's still studying at uni and he's like juggling all that as well. He's such a good bloke. But in terms of the strength training, I've never had it influence my Muay Thai in terms of bringing it down, only like up. Like I feel like I have so much power now. Like my coach is very old school. So like he doesn't believe in all that, but like he's believing how like because I'm getting so much more stronger and like more like fast and like he's said a few complimentary things to me lately that in regards to the power I've been able to hit on pads and stuff like that. So it's getting good. I can't wait to fight. Like I've had only one fight with Jacob's strength conditioning, but that was like 8 weeks into it. Now it's been like 30, so I can't wait to fight again and see how much of a different fighter I am because of it.
So what was the kind of change in thought? Like you obviously weren't doing your strength training before.
So I have like Max McVicker. Do you know who he is? No. So he's in the Muay Thai scene. He's had over he is from England with his father, which is my coach, and he had over 100 amateur fights before he came over here. He's had about 20 pro fights. He's only just turned 19, so it's been hard to get him fights as he's been injured every now and then. But he beat Zach Arneson for the WBC Australian title at 61 kilos. He just fought Singh Payak on Muay Thai Grand Prix. Excellent performance. He's just beyond worlds. So he's been my mentor basically throughout like my fight career, and he told me I need to invest in fighting first. So in terms of that, I invested in a boxing coach first, invested in my nutrition first, and strength conditioning came last. And now I have all those. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I've had 11 fights, so it only took until my 10th fight to invest in a strength coach. So I took my time and got my resources all together before I did have a strength coach before, but it was so expensive. Yeah. Jacob's my mate, so mate rates.
Okay, he looks after you.
Yeah.
That's good. So you were saying before how you fight at your walk around weight, which was 53 kilo, 54 kilos.
Yeah.
Now that you say you have to cut down, how much muscle do you know how much muscle you've put on from training?
So much muscle, like so much.
Because there was a few photos on Instagram, like there's actually a stark difference from like one of you. I think you had it up maybe a week or so ago, like you and your white get up, and then
that fight was horrible. So that was my So I'm a very driven person. I have goals, but if I fully embrace that, there's too much tension and I don't get what I want. So I'm someone who has to reel it back and just relax, and I'll just be able to achieve anything, if that makes sense. And at that point in my career, I was so like focused on achieving this, getting exactly that. I wasn't just looking at the obstacle ahead, which is what you should be doing. I believe, rather than like, focusing on the end goal, you focus on what you have to do today. So obviously I was so focused on having so many fights within such a short amount of time. I made all those mistakes. And in that fight where I fought Sim Semi for the first time, I went into it. I had a whole week, that whole fight week, I was in bed, fevers, shivering, like cold sweats every night because I was so sick from being so overtrained and so malnourished, and my iron levels were whacked and like everything was just so dead. And by the time I fought her, I was dead. After the first 10 seconds, I have no memory of the fight because I was just exhausted. And And it was really sad to just like, I've never felt so like horrible after a fight. I didn't even eat my Get Chunky cookies. I punished myself.
Oh.
And then, yeah, I think that's when that was when was that? And then I fought after that. But I spoke to one of my friends and she showed me how to eat more in terms of my nutrition. And I fought Sim at 53. My next fight after that was 53. It was my first unpadded fight.
Mm-hmm.
That whole camp, I literally ate above my maintenance, living in surplus, and I still weighed in at like under 53.
Really?
So I was so depleted for so long. And I even still felt the effects of what I went through in that fight. And then my next fight after that, I fought the same person in the championships, and at the championships, it's the same day weigh-in, 3 days in a row. So still walking around at that weight. And then I fought in Thailand. And when I was in Thailand, I told all the girls, because I had good fighters at my gym. So I had Erin Carroll, she's a fighter from Scotland. She's still there now. She's like ranked number 6 in WBC. I had Milena. She fought Sourcing, which is a really well-known fighter in Thailand. She's ranked number 1 in WBC as well. And I had a few other really high-level girls at that gym. And they kept asking me, why do you fight at 53? You're so small. You should fight 48, 46.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? And then I was in Thailand. I was walking around at 57. And I didn't understand why they were telling me I should be lighter. Obviously, because I was so depleted, so weak. And it wasn't throughout that Corona period that I built up all my nutrition. And near the end of Corona, I got a nutritionist. And it probably took until after my last fight that I'm finally back to normal. Where was I going in the beginning?
You're telling the story. You're about
what I walk around at?
Yeah, what you're walking around at, and then the
So it took me a while to build up my weight, and it wasn't until after Corona I got back to like 59, 60. Yeah. Iron levels getting back to normal, and I was still a bit chubby back like at 60. It wasn't that muscly, and I fought Sim for the second time, right? So my first time I fought her, I just complete mess. And the second time I fought her, if you watch the commentary, Kaylee Reese is on point. Like I came in a different person. Mm-hmm. I had a whole year of focusing on, like I knew I could beat her the first time, like in terms of my skills. Yeah. I knew it. That's why I was so upset about losing. So the second time, it literally was me having to dial back what I am and what I do. So I had to, I like in my fight camps, I have to do less. Because I always do so much and relax more and, don't go full 100% at training all the time. Slow down, I listened to my coach, but I never asked questions.
Okay.
Like it wasn't until after Corona that I started speaking at my gym. Now I walk around and like I talk all the time, but I was never out there. I just never asked, why am I doing this? Why are you teaching this? What should I do here? I never asked those questions until like there's this point in my life where I actually started listening to what I needed rather than just focusing on a goal. So that fight camp, I focused for like 10, 11 weeks for Sim because that was my first fight out of the first massive lockdown that we had.
Yep.
It was on Muay Thai Grand Prix. And that was the first time I had a nutritionist, and I also had I did boxing PTs every week with Danny Hayes and Mandra.
Yep.
And that was like the first time because when my gym came back from the lockdown, we changed how we trained. We made it fighters only classes because we're a small gym.
Yep.
We don't get much people, but we started doing just fighters train longer.
Yeah.
Like after people leave. So we have time to hit pads, have time to spar and stuff like that. And you could just see it in the fight. I literally didn't, like even my last fight, I just never out of breath, could go for ages. Felt so strong, felt so quick, skillful because I was eating right. And I was actually not overtraining, and I was actually sleeping, and I was actually not working 40 hours a week at work. I did what I needed. Massive difference. Yeah. And I definitely did put on muscle because I have had body scans done, and I got body scan done, like a DEXA scan.
Yep.
And I've had those ones where you stand.
Yeah.
They're rubbish compared to the DEXA. Like they always say I'm hell muscly, but the DEXA scan's like, no, you're not. You're actually much higher body fat percentage. And I was like, so I can fight lower than I do. But yeah, there has been my amount of fat has gone. Like I've gotten leaner and more muscle as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah.